On Wednesday, we saw people line up 4 hours before the George Webb restaurants opened in the Milwaukee area, and overall, tens of thousands of people waited in line to claim their free hamburger at 23 locations across the Milwaukee region. That was the result of a promotion offering a free hamburger if the Brewers won 12 games in a row, which they did. One family said they waited in line for hours, but they hit 4 of the restaurants during the day. What a promotion by George Webb Restaurants in the Milwaukee area. This is your Morning Buzzcast for Thursday, August 21st. I'm Abe Madkour. A historic day for ESPN. And if you haven't noticed, ESPN's years-long march toward a direct-to-consumer subscription service has resulted in the launch today of their ESPN D2C product. I am a cable subscriber, Spectrum Cable. I will have access this morning. I was guided on how to log in and check it out. You should do that as well. But if you are paying for the standalone ESPN app going forward, it will be $29.99 a month. And get ready for lots of personalization and interactive features. You'll see more integration of shopping and betting and stats, key plays. And so the shop tab is with Fanatics, so you'll see Fanatics merchandise related to the teams playing in the games being streamed. You'll also be linked to your ESPN Bet account if you have one. There's a custom AI-generated Sports Center for You tab, and there's all these other forms of aggregation catered to your preferences of teams, of players, of topics. This has been years in the making. It's the dream and vision of ESPN's Jimmy Pitaro. It's a huge investment and step for the company, and it is literally the top of the first inning. So check it out and let me know what you think. Let's move on. The changes continue at the Minnesota Timberwolves. We knew there would be changes under new ownership. Mark Lowry, Alex Rodriguez, especially after such a legal and acrimonious change from the previous ownership of Glenn Taylor. Yes, new owners generally want to make a statement or change, and SBJ's Tom Friend reported that the T-Wolves laid off around 40 employees yesterday in what sources called an operational restructuring following a 7-week assessment of the organization. The layoffs were from non-basketball departments, business operations, human resources, marketing, sales, creative. Just under 7% of the full and part-time personnel, that's over the T-Wolves, the Lynx, and the G League franchise, were impacted. So that's an organization of around 220 employees overall. No real reason was given for the moves, so it could have been new ownership assessing the operation, or it could be new ownership not liking headcount and expenses. That's their right. They are the owners. This continues a run of executive moves at the T-Wolves. Over the last few weeks, 5 C-level executives have already left the organization. No word on the T-Wolves' plans for a new CEO, but there are indications a hire has already been made. Speaking of new ownership, the sale of the Trailblazers to Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon seems to be moving forward, and there is a target of closing the deal by the end of March 2026. Sources told The Athletic that all major points have been agreed to. Dundon reached an agreement with Paul Allen's estate. The estate expressed the desire for the Blazers to stay in Oregon, and a source said Dundon plans to keep the team in the city. However, the future of the Moda Center is unclear. The team has a lease to continue playing its games in that arena through 2030, but after visiting Portland recently, it's clear a new arena will need to be built. So Dundon is becoming quite the sports business executive and industrialist. Look at his portfolio. He'll have the Hurricanes. He'll have the Blazers. He has a major investment and belief in the sport of pickleball. He's doing a large mixed-use development in Raleigh. he plans eventually to likely look at a new facility in Portland. Tom Dundon is known to have a very direct, very intense demeanor. He wants to move quickly to get things done, and so I do anticipate changes at the Blazers when that deal closes, likely early next year. Let's shift to golf. A big week with the Tour Championship on Wednesday. We saw the public debut of new PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolapp in Atlanta, meeting the media, outlining his first couple of weeks on the job, and he earned good reviews and outlining his first real vision since taking over in July. And he did make some news, most notably that he is not going to sit still, and he expects to see pretty significant changes to the PGA Tour under his leadership. Then he announced a new committee that will study the ways of revolutionizing the tour and its current model. So the committee is led, yes, by Tiger Woods. It also includes longtime baseball executive Theo Epstein, and it will look at everything: fewer events, bigger events, smaller fields, more high-visible events. There are 6 players on the committee. There's also a member of the PGA Tour Enterprises Board, Joe Gorder. Fenway Sports Group principal John Henry is also on this committee. Here's what you should know. Brian Rolapp came from an NFL culture that inspired constant change. His boss, Roger Goodell, is relentless on innovation and improvements, and this is what Rolapp wants to bring to the PGA Tour. Brian Rolapp is very smart, a quick study, and he's confident in his point of view. He's going to be direct. He's going to make changes. Some will be controversial, some not very popular. But for now, everything seems to be on the table at the PGA Tour, and that is quite a shock to a sport that really hasn't changed much over decades. You know, we talk about how teams are looking to build out areas of new business and add revenue. Well, look at the Baltimore Ravens. They have partnered on a group called Relentless Events. That's a new private events group that will be the team's partner for non-game day events at M&T Bank Stadium. So what does that mean? Well, this group will oversee more than a dozen spots within the stadium, and they will book them, promote them, run them. Think of events in private suites and in the club areas. Think of weddings, parties, corporate functions, birthdays. This is a new area of business for the Ravens who can promote these events, they can book the events, run it, and this is the team's effort to extend into the events business, which can be very profitable for a franchise. And speaking of new businesses, my colleague Austin Karp mentioned it yesterday, but I want to reiterate it. Another trend is teams developing intimate music venues adjacent to their sports arena. And it's another way to bring in audiences and drive revenue. You've seen it at Fenway Park with the Red Sox. There's a new music venue opening up next to Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. And now Smith Entertainment Group and Live Nation will bring a new indoor music venue to Salt Lake City. It's expected to host 200 events a year, including 100 concerts. Yes, the Delta Center will still host big shows, but think of smaller, more intimate shows and performances. This is a 6,000 capacity venue, and again, it's part of a plan to bring more people together more consistently throughout the year, aggregating audiences to stay longer, spend more money, and of course, these teams have a stake in the success. They are investors in these projects. And this is all part of Smith Entertainment Group investing $3 billion into redeveloping the city center of Salt Lake City. These trends of development continue throughout sports. Finally, we'll end with this. This is a fun one. It's one of the hottest bobbleheads around. Yes, bobbleheads are still hot, and it will be distributed tonight, Thursday night, at Yankee Stadium. The first 18,000 fans for the Red Sox-Yankees game will get a George Costanza bobblehead. Fans are expected to be lining up in the early afternoon for a 7 o'clock game to get a bobblehead featuring the legendary Seinfeld character. Remember, he served as an assistant to the travel secretary with the Yankees during the show. This is the second version of the Costanza bobblehead, and it features George sleeping under his desk. Remember, that was the episode called The Nap. It was hysterical. This bobblehead has already been pre-selling on eBay for nearly $300. Now, Jason Alexander, who played Costanza, cannot attend tonight's event, but if you get a bobblehead, let me know what you think of it. Let me know how long you waited for it. And so these are the 4 takeaways from today's morning Buzzcast. Number 1, a new era at ESPN as its new direct-to-consumer service has launched. ESPN hopes that it will increase engagement, especially among younger people, and reduce churn. Number 2, prepare for some significant changes to competition at the PGA Tour. Not immediately, but changes are coming under the leadership of Brian Rolapp. Number 3, speaking of changes, when new ownership takes over a franchise, expect some change. Some of it may be subtle, some of it dramatic. You're seeing changes on the business side at the T-Wolves under new ownership, and you could see some changes at the Blazers when Tom Dundon closes his deal. And finally, number 4, teams continue to think about other ways to drive audiences and drive revenue with outside businesses. Today, we see it with the Ravens getting deeper into the events business and teams also partnering to get into the music business with new, small-scale, intimate music venues. So those are your 4 takeaways from today's Buzzcast. For Thursday, August 21st, I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening to the Buzzcast. Stay healthy, be good to each other. I'll speak to you tomorrow.